In today's housing market update for Southwest Florida, I'll go over the weekly and monthly data for all of Southwest Florida from Sarasota all the way down to Naples and show you where the market is heading according to a new survey from John Burns Real Estate Consulting. And stay to the end where I'll show you the major stories I'll be covering in tomorrow's economic news that's definitely going to have a huge impact on the housing market. So let's get started. Hey, thanks for joining me today. I'm Rick Harrison with MVP Realty, and in today's market update, we are seeing a return to normal for the housing market, though I think it's a rather temporary one according to the latest news being released, which I'll get into in tomorrow's show. But for today, let's go over the weekly and monthly trends so you can make better decisions when it comes to buying and selling in Southwest Florida. All right, so let's dive into this week's housing market stats. We're starting off with the southern part of Southwest Florida from Cape Corals down to Naples. So as you can see from the data here this week, new listings went from 696 last week to 618 this week. That's down 12%, which is a good amount. However, we've been seeing this kind of rock back and forth around 12% over the last 3 weeks. Solds, which is the lagging indicator of what happened 30 to 45 days ago, went from 760 last week to 463 this week. That's down 40%. That's a huge drop. So that's giving you an idea of what happened about a month ago as far as the number of people who were putting in offers. Pendings, which is the leading indicator of what's going on in the market this week or over the past week, went from 816 last week, so 816 new offers, to 671 this week. So that's down 18%. So again, you can see a really sizable slowing in the amount of buyers who are making offers right now. Moving on to the inventory breakdown for the southern part. Single family homes went from 4,972 last week to 5,005 this week. That's up 33. So that is an increase, which is a little different than what we've seen over the last 2 weeks. Condos, which is everything other than single family homes, went from 2075 last week to 2034 this week. So that's down 41. We had a net loss of 21 last week. We have a net loss of 8 this week. Really not a huge change as far as statistics go in inventory. Multifamilies, really, again, same thing, not much of a huge change, 174 to 175, a gain of 1. And foreclosures stayed exactly the same at from 44 to 44. So no new gains in foreclosures. However, we are starting to see a huge uptick in foreclosures across the country. Now let's go into the monthly updates, just to give you the trending, what the charts are trending, how they are trending. And for this particular chart is homes for sale. As you can see over the last couple of months from the beginning of 2022, we can see that there was an uptrend in inventory coming on the market, the amount of homes for sale, which means that there was net gains overall every week. However, you do see a slight decrease over the last month where we did see a good amount of buyers resurface and get back into the market because interest rates did come down for a time being. New listings, actually just going back 3-4 months ago, where we were at all-time highs over the last year, the new amount of new listings coming on the market has also decreased quite a bit as well. So that's right around 3,500, 3,300 per month. Median sale price, as you can see, this is kind of what everybody has been waiting for. And if this is anything like the stock market that we've seen, a bear market rally of sorts, where we did hit the peak about 3-4 months ago, we did see also a decline in home prices about 6%, and we're looking at probably going into closer to 9% if the trends continue over this next month. However, we did see a bit of a reprieve over the last month where prices really didn't decrease too drastically from previous months and actually might have gone up a little bit, as you can see from that little tick at the end there. Pending sales also went up slightly. Again, we've been talking about this for the last couple of weeks, but there was a decrease in mortgage rates over the last, about a month ago, which is where we saw a new demand for buyers coming into the market, and we did see more homes go under contract. Closed sales really flatlined here. We've gone back down over the last really 2 years. You can see that we are at all-time lows for the past 2 years. And that has started to flatline again, where we're seeing really this trend of a kind of a return to normal where the amount of inventory coming on is being purchased at the same rate. So it's really just kind of flatlining. Now moving on to the northern part of Southwest Florida, from Punta Gorda up to Sarasota. New listings went from 1595 last week to 1582 this week. That's down just 1%, really not a huge change there. Solds, the lagging indicator, went from 2052 last week to 1237 this week. That is also down 40%. So you can see about a month ago, both really throughout Southwest Florida, solds and the amount of people who were putting homes under contract a month ago really flatlined and went down to 40%. Went down 40%. Pendings went from 2032 to 1721. Again, very similar to the southern half. This is also down 16%. And we did see the price decreases increase in the northern part from 2268 to 2358. That's up 4%. So we are continuing to see home price decreases continue trending up in the northern part of Southwest Florida. Now let's break down the inventory for the northern half. Single families went from 4045 to 4064. That's a gain of 19. Condos went from 1402 to 1401. That's a loss of 1. Again, not a huge change here, but we had a net gain of 22 last week, a net gain of 18 this week. So we are seeing the inventory trending up very slightly, but it is up at the very least. So then we had multifamilies went from 70 to 66, down 4, and foreclosures went from 19 up to 33. That's a gain of 14. So we'll have to look at the foreclosures in this half, but they have been really getting down to all-time lows for that area, where last week 19 was the lowest amount of foreclosures we have seen in the northern half. But if this does continue as a trend in the next week, we might see a bit of foreclosures come into that market. Now we're just going to compare the monthly stats, and I put these side by side. So this is from July to August. Active listings in July were at 34,000. That was up 19 from the previous month in June. And now this month, active listings is up to 47,000. So that's a 37% increase from July to August for active listings. On the other hand, new listings in July were 23,000. That was down 8% from June. And this month for August, that's down to 21,000. So that's down another 8% this month. Days on market, we talked about last time, that has been slowly ticking up from 16 to 20. But moving on to the other stats that are pretty important. Pending sales in July were at 18,800. Pending sales in August are at 21,000. So that did increase 12%. Whereas in July, it was down 6%. The other one, average sales price, went from 447,000 in July, which was already down 3% from June. Now in August, we're down 433,000, which is down another 3%. So as you can see just right here, that's a 6% decrease in this area. And I believe the month before, we did see a slight decrease of 1%. And I think this month we're probably going to see another decrease with home prices. I'm guessing it's probably going to be pretty close to 3%. So we might see an overall of 9 to 10% decrease in just the last 3 months for the northern half of Southwest Florida. So this is this was tweeted by John Burns, Real Estate Consulting. This is really just showing what the direction of home prices have been in the last month. And this really goes all the way back to July 2021. 1,000 real estate agents were surveyed, asking them where they see home prices trending. 77% back in July of 21 indicated that they were mostly increasing. Most of the inventory was increasing in price. And that slowed down through November, where it started to increase again back in December of 21, going into January of 2022, and then hit its all-time high in February. Since February, that market share really has been sinking, and now it is at an all-time low of only 20% of agents are saying that the inventory is mostly increasing in price, whereas 35% are now saying it's mostly decreasing in price, and the majority, being the 45%, are saying it's mostly flatlining, which I would have to agree more with the mostly decreasing. Again, that really depends on the area and the neighborhoods, but I would say overall, I see most of the home prices really trending downward, and I think that's going to continue, especially as mortgage rates increase over the next month or two. Speaking of mortgage rates, interest rates over the past week did go up slightly. NerdWallet has it going from 5.881% to 5.922%, so just up 0.1%. And then bank rate had it going from 6.05 to 6.08, so just up 0.03% or 3 basis points. Now, I just want to give you a breakdown of the interest rates, and stick around a couple more minutes. I'll be going over what the stories I'll be covering in tomorrow's episode. But right now, the mortgage applications did decrease over this past week. However, refinance share increased. So that went from 30.3% to 30.7%, which is not a great indicator, because most of the people usually want to refinance when the rates are at lows, which was 3% about a year ago. The fact that they're actually refinancing now could be an indication of potentially ARMs that might have been taken out coming due for re-up, or it could be the fact that people are strapped for cash and they're looking for their home equity to actually make it by. So that's not really great news. But the other three stats that I always try to track is the FHA share of these mortgage applications increased slightly from 13.0 to 13.3%. Again, FHAs require less money down. So that's also an indication that people are still trying to buy. However, they don't have the money to put down for a down payment. VA and USDA, VAs decreased slightly from 11.1% to 10.8%. And the USDA was unchanged, which is not too common of a loan that is being used nowadays. Finally, so the stories that will be coming up in tomorrow's episode, these are big stories that are really shaping in the market as we speak. One of the stories I'm going to be talking about is something I've been talking about for well over a year now, but at least 1 million layoffs coming in the very near future. And that's according to this paper that we'll be taking a look at tomorrow. Foreclosures reach pre-pandemic levels. Also, on the other side of that, rents are starting to lower. And then also, we're going to talk about the housing market reset. And then finally, China is now seizing control over Evergrande's headquarters. So those stories are coming up in tomorrow's economic news. Thanks for watching. If you learned something from this video, give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell to get notified when more videos like this get released every week.